Welcome to John in the World. Today, I want to tell you a story about Lionel Messi. Most of you know him, but this isn't really a story about football. It's a story about money. It's a story about vision, and most importantly, it's a story about understanding the difference between being paid for your work and being rewarded for the value you create. Because there was a moment when Messi had a choice that most of us will never experience. He could take an enormous guaranteed payday, or he could take a path that offered less money immediately, but potentially for greater value over time. And the decision he made teaches us something that could completely change the way you think about your career, about your finance, and about your future. So let's go back to the moment when the football world was watching. Lionel Messi was approaching the end of his contract. He had already achieved what most footballers could only dream of: championships, individual awards, records, worldwide recognition, financial success. At this point in his career, Messi wasn't trying to prove that he could become great. He already was. But there was something else he had to think about. What happens when the plane stops? A big question. Because every career has an expiration date. The strongest athlete eventually gets older. The fastest runner eventually slows down. The most talented footballer eventually plays his final match. And when that happens, the question changes. You stop asking, how much can I earn from my talent? And you start asking, what can I build with what my talent has given me? This is a completely different question. And this is where Messi's decision becomes fascinating. According to the source material, Saudi Arabia presented Messi with an extraordinary offer, reported at around $1.5 billion. Think about that number for a moment. $1.5 billion. For most people, that number doesn't even feel real. You could work for thousands of lifetimes and never come close to it. So when people heard that Messi didn't take that offer, the obvious question was, why? Why would someone turn down that much money? Why choose anything else? The answer is that Messi wasn't simply looking at the size of the check. He was looking at what the deal could become. And that's the lesson. There is a difference between income and ownership. Income pays you for what you do. Ownership gives you a stake in what you help build. Most people spend their entire working lives thinking about income. They ask, how much does this job pay? How much is my salary? Can I get a raise? Who will pay me more? Those questions aren't wrong. They are not. But they are limited. A better question is, how much value can I create? Because if you can consistently create value, you become more valuable. And the more valuable you become, the more opportunities begin to find you. That part was what made Messi's situation so unusual. For more than 20 years, he had been one of the most valuable employees in the world of football. Clubs paid him because he could produce results. Sponsors wanted him because he could attract attention. Fans followed him because he represented excellence. Businesses benefited from his name. But there is a fundamental difference between creating enormous value for a company and only part of the company that benefits from that value. That's the distinction most people miss. You can be extremely successful and still be building something or somebody else's assets. Let that sink in. You can be the best person in your department and still receive only a fraction of the value your work creates. You can make your employer millions while receiving a salary that is only a small percentage of the wealth you help create. Again, there is nothing wrong with employment. Employment can be a blessing. A good job can provide stability, training, experience, and an opportunity to develop valuable skills. But employment shouldn't necessarily be the end of the journey. It can be the training ground for something greater. And that's where the principle of ownership comes in. When Messi was considering his next move, Inter Miami presented something different. They could simply compete with Saudi Arabia's by offering more guaranteed money. They didn't have that same financial power. Instead of fighting the battle on salary, they changed the game. They created a broader proposition. Messi could become part of something that had room to grow. And this is where the story becomes bigger than football. Think about a small business owner. Imagine someone owns a company worth £100,000. They hire a talented employee who helps grow the business to £1 million. The employee might receive a salary increase, maybe a bonus, maybe a promotion, but the owner still owns the company. The employee gets paid for their contribution. The owner benefits from the increasing value of assets. Now imagine that instead of simply receiving a higher salary, the employee receives a percentage of ownership. Suddenly, the employee's future is connected to the future of the business. If the company grows, their stake becomes more valuable. If the business succeeds, they participate in that success. They are no longer simply selling their time. They are participating in creation of an asset. That is the concept Messi's decision helps us understand. And is a concept that appears repeatedly in the world of business. But here is where we need to be careful. Ownership isn't automatically better than salary. Ownership comes with risk. A salary can be guaranteed. An ownership stake can become worthless. A large income today can be more valuable than a speculative promise tomorrow. So the lesson isn't always reject salary. No, I'm not saying that. The lesson is understand what you are being offered. Understand the risk. Understand the upside. Understand the terms. And understand what you are building. That's something many people fail to do. They look only at the headline number, enormous. But sophisticated deals are really about one number. The headline might say one amount. The real value may be hidden in everything surrounding that amount. Bonuses, revenue sharing, equity, partnerships, performance incentives, future opportunities, access, influence. The source material explains that Messi's arrangement involved more than simply his plain salary. It describes potential participation in revenue connected to major commercial relationships and a future ownership interest in Inter Miami. that changes the way you look at the deal. Suddenly, the comparison isn't simply $20 million versus $1.5 billion. No, that's simplistic. The real comparison becomes guaranteed money today versus participation in future value. And that is a much more interesting decision. Now let's bring this down from Messi's world to yours. Maybe nobody offering you billions, probably not, but you may be facing a similar decision in a much smaller way. Perhaps you are deciding between taking a comfortable job and learning valuable skills. Perhaps you are considering starting a business while keeping your current employment. Perhaps someone has offered you a partnership. Perhaps you are building a YouTube channel. Perhaps you are developing a product. Perhaps you are learning a skill that doesn't pay much today, but could become extremely valuable later. The question is, are you only thinking about what it pays today? Or are you thinking about what it could become? This is where patience becomes extremely important. We live in a culture obsessed with instant result, instant money, instant success, instant followers, instant business growth, instant recognition. But meaningful things rarely work that way. Messi didn't suddenly become valuable when Inter Miami signed him. His value had been accumulating over decades. Every match, every training season, every achievement, every year of consistency, his reputation was an asset that had been built slowly. And that's something you can do too. Your skills are assets. Remember that. Your reputation is an asset. Your knowledge is an asset. Your relationship can become assets. Your audience can become an asset. Your ability to solve problems can become an asset. But these things have to be developed. You have to invest before you can harvest. And this is where scripture gives us a powerful principle. Proverbs 22 verse 29 says, "Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men." Notice that the verse doesn't say talented. It says diligent. Diligent. There is a difference. Talent may open door. Diligence keeps you in the room. Talent may give attention. Consistency creates trust, and trust creates opportunities. Look at Messi's career. Whatever someone think about football, it is difficult to deny the extraordinary level of consistency behind his achievements. He didn't become valuable because of one good season. No, he became valuable because he repeatedly delivered what? Excellence. And that is something you can control. You may not control the economy. You may not control who hires you. You may not control whether somebody notices you today, but you can control whether you become better. You can control whether you learn. You can control whether you become dependable. Yes, you can control whether you develop a skill that solves an expensive problem. Yes, and over time, those decisions compound. This is why I want you to stop asking only, how can I make more money? Start asking, how can I become more valuable? Those questions sound similar, isn't it? But they aren't. The first question focuses on the reward. the second focuses on the source of the reward. If you improve your ability to create value, income becomes one of the possible consequences. But here's another lesson from Messi's story. You have to be willing to think long term. The people behind Inter Miami didn't wait until Messi became available and then start thinking. No, the source material describes years of preparation around the possibility of signing him, including arrangements and business structures designed with a player of Messi's stature in mind. That's remarkable. Years before the opportunity became reality, preparation was already happening. And this principle applies to your life. Don't wait until you need the opportunity to start preparing for it. Don't wait. If you want to become a business owner, start learning now. If you want to become a content creator, start creating now. If you want to become financially independent, start understanding money now. If you want to lead people, start developing character now. If you want to build something that lasts, start laying foundation now. Because opportunities often arrive suddenly, but preparation never does. Preparation takes time. The opportunity may appear overnight. The person who receives it successfully may have spent 10 years preparing for that one moment. And sometimes we call that person lucky. But here's what looks like luck from outside is often preparation, meeting opportunity. Now, there is another part of this story that I don't want you to miss. Messi's decision wasn't simply about making money. It was also about timing. At 35, he was looking at the later stage of his playing career. That matters. The person or the right decision at one stage of life may be the wrong decision at another. When you are young, you may need to focus on learning. Later, you may focus on earning. Then you may focus on investing. Eventually, you may focus on legacy. But wisdom is knowing what season you are in. You don't need to build everything at once. You need to build the right thing at the right time. Maybe your current season isn't about ownership. Maybe it's about becoming excellent at your craft. Maybe it's about paying off debt. Maybe it's about building an emergency fund. Maybe it's about gaining experience. Maybe it's about discovering your calling. Don't despise the preparation season because it doesn't look like destination. No, don't. Messi spent years being the player before he could become a partner. Think about that. Years of preparation. Your current position may be preparing you for something you cannot see yet. So don't waste the season you are in. Use it, learn, grow, build, become valuable. And when the opportunity becomes ready, you will be ready. There is also a warning here. Don't chase ownership because it sounds impressive. Don't. Ownership requires responsibility. If you want a bigger reward, you usually have to accept greater responsibility. You cannot demand the upside while refusing the risk. You cannot want the harvest while avoiding the planting. You cannot ask God for increase while refusing to become a good steward of what you already have. The principle is simple. Build before you expect to benefit. Messi had already built an extraordinary reputation before negotiating from a position of strength. He didn't walk into the conversation as an unknown player, asking people to take a chance on him. He didn't do that. His track record gave him leverage. And that's something you should remember. Your leverage comes from the value you've already demonstrated. If you want more opportunities, become the kind of person opportunities can trust. Become excellent, become reliable, become disciplined, become someone who solves problems. Because eventually people stop paying you, yes, simply for your time. They start paying you for your ability to produce results. That is the difference. And that is when your earning potential can change dramatically. Think about it. An hour of ordinary labor has a limit, but a solution that to an expensive problem can worth far more. A great idea can influence thousands. A business can serve millions. A piece of intellectual property can continue generating value after you create it. A strong brand can outlive the person who built it. That is why ownership matters. It allows your work to continue producing value beyond the immediate moment. And that is the deeper lesson behind Messi's decision. He wasn't simply choosing Miami over Saudi Arabia. No, he was choosing between two different ways of thinking. One focused heavily on what he could receive immediately. The other gave him the opportunity to participate in what he could help create. That's the difference. The world tends to celebrate the person who earns the biggest salary. That is the culture of the world. But sometimes the wiser person is the one who owns the smallest percentage of something that can eventually become enormous. That's why you need to change the way you think. Don't spend your entire life asking, who will pay me? Ask, what can I build? Don't ask only, how much can I earn? But ask, what can I create to continue producing value? Don't ask, how quickly can I become successful? But ask, what foundation can I build that will still matter 10 years from now? And most importantly, don't allow comparison to make you despise your current season. Your journey isn't Messi's journey. God has given you different abilities, different opportunities, different responsibility, and a different assignment. You don't need Messi's life. You need to faithfully build yours. Maybe your ownership begins with a small business. Maybe it begins with a skill. Maybe it begins with a YouTube channel. Maybe it begins with investing. Maybe it begins with learning how to manage the money you already have. Maybe it begins with simply becoming disciplined enough to stop wasting what God has placed in your hands. Whatever the starting point is, because the goal isn't merely to become rich. The goal is to become a faithful steward of your abilities and opportunities. Money is a tool. Influence is a tool. Skills are tools. Your time is a tool. And every tool becomes powerful when it is used with wisdom. Messi's story reminds us that sometimes the biggest financial opportunity isn't the one with the largest number attached to it. Sometimes it's the opportunities that allows you to participate in the growth you help create. That's a powerful idea. But there is something even more important. Your greatest asset isn't your bank account, it's not your job title, it's not your possessions, it's not even your current income. It's the person you are becoming. Because if you lose money but retain your skills, yes, you can rebuild. If you lose a job but retain your knowledge, you can find another path. If an opportunity disappears but you have developed discipline, you can create another one. Build yourself, build your skills, build your character, build your reputation, build something useful. And when God gives you an opportunity, don't just ask how much it pays. Ask what it can become. This is the difference between chasing money and building value. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson hidden inside Messi's decision. The world saw a footballer turning down an enormous amount of money. But underneath that decision was a deeper principle, a much more deeper principle. Don't only work for the reward, learn how to participate in the value you create. Your salary can pay your bills, I'm not disputing that. Your skills can increase your income. Your discipline can build your reputation. Your wisdom can protect what you earn. And ownership can allow you to participate in something that grows beyond your individual effort. But whatever path you take, never forget who gave you the ability to work, to create, to learn and build. God is not calling you to chase wealth at the expense of your purpose. He is calling you to be faithful with what He has placed in your hands. So don't look at Messi's story and simply say, I wish I had his opportunities. Look at it and ask, what can I build with the opportunities I have? Because your starting point may be small. Your resources may be limited. Your audience may be tiny. Your business may still be an idea. Your skill may still be developing. But small beginnings don't have to mean small futures. What matters is what you do with what you have. Start where you are. Improve what you can. Learn what you don't know. Be diligent. Think long term. And when the opportunity comes, be ready. Be ready. Because sometimes the biggest breakthrough in life won't come from working harder for someone else's vision. Sometimes it doesn't come like that. It may come from developing the courage, the wisdom, and discipline to build something of your own. This is John in the World. And if this video challenged the way you think about money, success, work, and your future, don't just watch it and move on. Please think about it. Ask yourself one simple question today. Am I only earning money, or am I building value? Your answer could change the direction of your life. So, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to John in the World for more biblical wisdom, practical life lessons, and powerful stories that help you live with purpose. And remember, don't just chase the biggest reward today. Build something valuable enough to reward you tomorrow. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.